It's an enormous problem. So big that most people can't believe it even exists. I think the first thing to understand is that there's no one building that's better than the other one, meaning the masonry materials all perform the same. If you drive down the streets in Old Town or Lincoln Park, Lakeview, Wicker Park, anywhere in Chicago, and you look at these masonry buildings, well, when we first started doing this, we're like, oh, yeah, that's a bad one over there. But this one's a good one. And then that one's a bad one because it's got water issues. And that one's a good one because it doesn't seem to have as many problems. But when you look at the industry as a whole, the mortar is all the same. Then you have to realize that the entire industry has the same problem building after building after building. And that problem is the adsorbing of water through the masonry, and then it gets trapped in pockets, and then you end up with buildings that are full of water. Well, oftentimes you can't see it, except when the buildings dry out and you see efflorescence, all the white chalkiness on the sides of buildings. That's an indication that the building is drying out and bringing the lime and the other minerals that are in the mortar. Okay, the first job we did, I became aware of how moisture goes through cinder block. The building was wet on the inside. They tore out the drywall, so we did an experiment. We poured water on the side of the building. Well, on the outside of the building, there was a wet spot about this big. On the inside of the building, the wet spot was not only wider and deeper, but also higher. And the higher part really confused me because I thought that when water goes in, it goes down because that's what we've been taught. Well, as it turns out, that was the first example for me to see that water gets adsorbed three-dimensionally because water goes from wet to dry. So it's just going to spread out. Yeah, it might be more on the bottom because there's a lot of water getting pumped in, but it does spread higher despite the effect of gravity on the water. So we started thinking that maybe if the building is sealed on the outside and the building is sealed on the inside, well, where's the water going to go? If it has a chance to go anywhere, it only has a chance to go to the top. I didn't know that by opening up the top, I was going to give this building a chance to expel its water vapor. So following year, a friend of mine called me up and said he pulled back a capstone on top of an expensive house and got hit with a blast of hot, wet air. There was no flashing. The wall was full of water on a hot day. So we put together a vented flashing prototype. We installed a polypropylene fabric. The cloth that's on the backside of a ridge vent, a common roofing product, had the ability to, you could breathe through it, but yet it held a glass of water. We incorporated that into a vented system that was waterproof. In addition, we understand that these membranes condense. There's always water behind the roof membrane. So we thought, well, let's put a gap behind the roof system and cap it off with sheet metal. I'd be damned if the whole house didn't dry out.